Hi, I am here with the very cool CONRAD Murray, who is an award-winning beatboxer, a rapper, a singer, a theatre maker, writer, director, you name it, he has done it. And he's done projects such as Frankenstein's How to Make a Monster, Denmark, Crompton Nights, which I saw and was amazing. And these projects have been in, it was incredible, like nothing I've ever seen, honestly. And then, yeah, and the projects have been in places such as Tate Britain, the South Bank Centre, Royal Festival Hall, Edinburgh Fringe, the Lowry, where he is now coming back with his new project, Unexpected Twist, from the 2nd to the 7th of May. So we are very excited for this one. Thank you for chatting with us today, Conrad at Manchester Theatres.
That's all good. Thanks for having me. We're excited to get the show there.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. And so this show, we've got the Michael Rosen story, Unexpected Twist, that's been adapted for stage by Roy Williams.
Yeah.
Is a take on the Charles Dickens classic Oliver Twist, but obviously there's this new story that's been interwoven into that of Shona. So can you tell us Shona's story and how she fits in?
Yeah, so Shona, she's from a single parent family. Her and her dad haven't got a lot of money. They're moving from place to place, and they're struggling quite a bit. And she's about to start in the show. She's starting a new school, so starting a whole new environment, and coming from, I guess, quite a vulnerable position like having to move around, low economic status, like all this kind of struggle. She's quite, in a way, quite vulnerable herself in school. Wants to meet new people, and we see kind of life through her eyes.
Yeah, do you, because obviously it kind of shows us how Shona gets into the gangs as opposed to like how Oliver did. And it's a real modern take on that with her feeling the responsibility that she's got to help with the financial situation without really understanding what it is that she's getting into, and that she's got to then start paying back for the things that she's been given. Do you get a different response from young people in the audience to the adults in watching this?
Yeah, we do. I think the adults often are really thinking a lot about kind of the economic side, and maybe questioning kind of um, how they judge kind of young people now. Because adults, look at young people from their point of view and like, well, why are they doing this? Why are they joining gangs? And I think young people see it from, maybe they got a mate that does that. Maybe it's them. Maybe those things. And also the aesthetic of the show is young people. It's rap. It's R&B. It's grime. It's trap. So the aesthetic, they're taking it in a different way. So adults are being educated about what's cool, and the kids, it's their world, and also they understand these characters. Maybe they've met them. Maybe it's them. They understand it. So you kind of, the show's dealing with a lot with two different levels. It's like in a way, three different stories, because it's just Charles Dickens, it's the Michael Rosen, it's our theatre adaptation, but it's often on two different kind of twisted levels. And in the kind of like generation gap, it's also there as well. It's people seeing it from different point of views, which is really exciting.
Yeah, definitely. And you've mentioned obviously that the way another way that it's really brought up today is by obviously the music that you're creating as well. And it's you've obviously worked with the amazing Yaya Bay on this. So I've got an idea of the kind of thing because I've seen Crompton Nights. But for someone who might not know, can you kind of explain? Because you're brilliant you mix these different genres of music, but it's not just about the genre of music. You're mixing it with different techniques and different styles and vibes as well. So for someone who hasn't got a clue, what can they expect musically?
Well, all of the music and the instruments and the sounds is all the voice. So it's all everything is just like the vocal sounds, and we're kind of trying to recreate instruments, textures. So it's a mixture of music, sounds, and noise as well of the world fusing together. In that way, we can kind of seamlessly shift between genres and time and feel and tone and sound, atmosphere, ambient, all the time. So we part of the part I would say like part of the spectacle of the fact that we're mixing these stories, these different times together, is the way that the performers on stage are actually amazing vocalists and kind of vocal gymnasts and amazing beatboxers. So we've got like a, Alex Hardy, aka Apollo. He's one of the best beatboxers in the country. Plus Kate Donaghy and Ladise Rose Johnson, and all the rest of the cast have kind of been on a beatbox boot camp. So everyone in the cast is beatboxing and doing these vocal sounds. So we took them on a boot camp, and now when I'm kind of checking in back on the show, you're seeing everyone's like I remember when like everyone was nervous and tentative, but fully like experts at this now. So that's how kind of we're bringing it up to date. But obviously well, not obviously, but there are also ballads in there and kind of quite musical numbers. So we're shifting between kind of different feelings, emotions, and genres as well to tell the story. Because Nan in the show, who kind of doubles up as, I guess, almost like a Fagin character, she's Nan. She's not going to be doing grime. Her of the music and the tone is different to the different characters, and that's kind of how we've done it. Is like the different characters have a different vernacular, and speak in different colloquialisms as to who they are. And we do have the Dickens characters kind of echoing it in as well, because the story is around a well-meaning teacher who is telling the story of Oliver Twist, and we're seeing those echoes. And Shona is kind of starting to realize that this story is just like my story. Like the story is exactly the same. Like, and that's like quite confusing and confronting to her. And she starts realizing, oh my God, these are all the characters in my lives. And to be honest, there's a lot of books like you can read and think, Jesus, is this just the same? Like, are we all trapped in these same stories? But it's about her changing her story, and also taking charge of that story and realizing, we do fit into, in some ways we do fit into archetypes, but then we have to take over that and kind of shift it and twist it into what we want it to be.
Yeah, yeah, it's so interesting. And even like you said there, obviously the style of music, you've got to really blend that with the correct kind of character to make it work. And so when you're given a script like that, and someone says, all right, we want you to be a musical director, we want you to write songs, do you get to kind of say, right, I want a song there, I want one there, oh, that character to have one? Or is that a collaboration, or are you kind of told where to put them?
It's both. So I'm not in some ways I'm not telling Roy Williams what to do. He's like a legendary writer. But he had ideas of where the song should go, and like you can kind of tell kind of how they should be, like not in the genre but the story, because the story beat is kind of there in between. And he had an idea, but also as we went along we could then add on things and say, well, hold on, this music needs to come from somewhere, and there needs to be another shift here and sounds here. So and we added some. So it was always a elastic kind of collaboration, always moving around. And sometimes things were shifted and moved, and we did them, but they didn't work, and we could come with things. So like Roy and James Dacre, who's the overall director, everyone was really kind of like very open. Like sometimes they'd be like, we need to change that, and it mean quite a lot of work. Like what, that change that that's a lot. But I'd see Roy and I think, wow, like Roy, he'll be smiling, and I think, oh, okay, and this guy's tenured. He's national fit. It was the country. He's got all sorts of accolades. But he would come back and have just bare sides change. So when it was like my time, it was like, we need a new song for this moment here. I was like, I'm working. In some aspects, I could be thinking, what? Like I've already done this, man. I've done that song. But I'm thinking, well, if I'm seeing Roy smiling, and that's kind of learning from them guys that actually you kind of just got to take it on the chin, and like things have got to be added, changed all the time. Obviously, you fight for what you believe in. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that, but there's a song called "Free" that was kind of added to the show in previews, and
Wow.
we need that moment here. And it was like, okay, I just went home, come back, and the song's a banger in the show. Like, it's such a great moment, and it ends with Shona singing this really powerful kind of big note with all the girls kind of harmonizing. And it was like, it's like a night before to kind of like really work out what the song was. But that in a way it makes it exciting and kind of like always
Yeah.
shifting and changing. and I get note when I'm not in, no, when I'm not on the road watching the show. I'll be back. We're a week off now. I'm gonna come back to Manchester and watch it. I get messages saying, "Listen, we're thinking about changing this and want to change that." And I'm like, "Hey, that's a good idea. Let's go for it." I'm excited to see what happens.
Oh,
um,
brilliant.
and that's just people own, also like I think when creators can own a show, like especially the
Mm.
cast and the people around it, they love it a lot more. So you kind of got to let a little bit of flexibility. You don't need to go too wild because you go back and don't recognize what you. What's this? What's this show? But you want to go back and seeing them owning it, and you can see it in their eyes that they really kind of like mean what they're doing. So that's exciting for me to get to go back and think, oh, okay, that's what they're doing with it.
Yeah. Wow. So, yeah. So it's basically it's ever evolving, isn't it? And that's brilliant because, like you say, that's what makes for the best lasting musicals and shows and things like that. And I think the fact that, like you said earlier, that all of this is vocal. There are no instruments whatsoever, and it's all. I know when I saw Crompton Nights, everyone was going, "Nah, man, that's recorded. That was recorded." I was like, "No, it's not. It's all live." And you'd said that you kind of had to put people on a bit of a beatboxing like crash course, so to speak. So were you involved in the casting of it, or were you? Because
Yeah, well,
obviously you've mentioned Apollo's in there, you've got Glitch in there as well, so you've got these beatboxing people, but then obviously you've got people who come in as singers, and so how were you involved in that side of it?
yeah, I was, yeah. So we're always looking at obviously people needed to better act and they need to better move and they need to better just listen to their vocals and also to see how they worked as an ensemble, to see how they work together. So we did actual group castings as well as solo castings, just to hear the voices and think, how can they work with other people? What's their ear like? Because the people in the cast have almost got a practice perfect pitch for the show because out of nowhere they just go in. There's no instruments. Whereas usually in a show with a band, once you can sing, it's just like you're never going to sing out of tune really because you hear that bass notes and the scales whatever. When you're all just singing voice, it's a lot more trickier. And what's fun for me actually is like you said, people just start to think it's instruments, and actually one of the kind of biggest beatboxers ever, Razel, used to be kind of part of the Roots, said that the more better he got at beatboxing, he realized he had to put imperfections in because people started thinking it's a machine. Because it was like they wasn't as impressed anymore because they're like, oh, what are you doing? It's like, no, it's just me. Or when you get that one person in the audience that one guy come to speak to me and he said, oh, he recognized me from an interview, so he knew that I was on the show, and he was like, they're tuning, like they're just tuning out of nowhere because for the
Yeah.
audience they just take it for granted, which is good. I wanted to do that. I wanted to relax and have fun, but it's interesting to hear those people that there's no pitch pipes, there's no note. Everyone just comes in bang on their notes, and I'm like, yeah, because everyone has to learn amazing pitch and impeccable timing, and that's kind of part of the fun of it is that you come out and see this amazing show story, but you want to be wowed by the best vocalists that you're going to hear doing sounds like you've never heard before, in a way that you've never seen. That's what you want to do, right? Do something that's never been done. And some of the dancing that they're doing at the same time as doing the sounds is incredible. And before we did it, I didn't know. We didn't know. We couldn't even find a reference to whether anyone had done this before with vocal mics and then switch into handheld and do. There was no reference. We couldn't find anyone that had done it and needed the quality of sound that we needed. So that made it even more exciting because it was like, how are we going to make this work? And there's a collaboration between the sound team as well with Lee. Like it was like, and that's what makes it even better because when people are like, what, I didn't know this kind of stuff existed. It's like, well, in some ways I did, in some ways I didn't either because we were all kind of just experimenting, seeing can this work, and it does. It's such an amazing tight spectacle of a show.
Yeah, it goes beyond triple threat performance, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Completely, yeah, completely new. And I've got to admit, I've been watching some of your workshop videos, trying to see if I can do it myself. I can't. I just about managed the hi-hat sound. That's about it with the T. But what did come across from your workshop videos is obviously you're actually a qualified teacher as well as doing all of this. And it massively shines through in your workshop videos because the way that you're engaging and entertaining and educating all at the same time is through creation. And it's so even the warm-ups, I was watching the warm-ups thinking I need to steal that for my drama students because every time I try and do vocal warm-ups they're all like, it's boring. But yeah, it's amazing. So for anyone who doesn't know, you kind of give this fundamental of the beatboxing sound, so the boom, the T, and the clap. Can
Yeah.
you give a little bit of a demonstration of that now? I wouldn't use me as a demonstrator because I'm terrible, but if you can give a bit of a
Okay, so the three fundamental sounds, the kick drum, the hi hat, and snare, we base them on these three phonetics. And once you get these sounds, everything you start unlocking the pathways to all the other sounds. But the fundamentals: boom, T, and clap. So if you say boom, T, clap, and repeat those sounds to warm up your lungs, your mouth, your teeth, your tongue. Boom, T, clap. And then what we do is we just take the vowels off: the the E, and the ah. Boom, t, E, clap, ah. We start with the boom. We take the off, and we're left with the. And we do, you can practice doing that as a call and response, and we come up with little patterns. And to practice that, and then move on to the T, and we take the E off, and we start practicing patterns with the T. And then move on to the cla. We take the A off, and we go, and some people that sound like a, and some people that sound like a, and there are many different kind of timbres of drum anyway, and it doesn't matter how your snare sounds, it's all loud because all snares are welcome. And then we start putting the three different sounds together, do some call and response, and go kind of going back and forth, and we kind of scaffold it and build it up like that, and eventually, and it kind of all comes together. So that's a kind of a very, very quick overview of how we do it. But thank you for what you said about teaching, because as I say, like, I'm an artist and director, but I'm also really excited about teaching and education. And one of the reasons why we made Frankenstein was to take it into schools. And it's like it would be amazing to make. I'm trying to try the best show possible to go into schools, but the show ended up being too successful, way too successful. They never did that. It was, it outpriced itself. More people, more money, and it all played these amazing venues, which is absolutely amazing. But just like all the other teachers across the country, excited about drama, excited about music, and putting it together. And I know that like a lot of those drama teachers are also, are putting. You go and watch the productions, and they're amazing. And one thing I hate people saying is, like, oh, this looks like a GCSE drama piece, and I'm like, but have you seen GCSE drama? It's better than what a lot of these people out here doing.
yeah.
It's such a silly insult. We're talking about 15, 16-year-olds with the most mind-blowing ideas sometimes.
Yeah.
We've got teachers that are directing like 100 shows a year with all these students. Like, I always look that down. I'm like, no, sorry, I'm not gonna have that. Like GCSE drama, you'd be good. I advise you to go and watch some GCSE drama. Thanks.
Yeah, learn yourself what's going on in these schools with these kids, because I agree. I teach drama, and the stuff that they come up with is just insane. It's like, what, you kind of sit there going, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah. You're like, okay, I'm gonna not steal it, but I'm gonna use that.
Yeah, and obviously you do this with the BAC Beatboxing Academy as well, who you are artistic director of. So, what can you tell us about them? What's that project?
Well, yeah, that's been going for 15 years this year, which has gone very, very quick. It's every Thursday. Anyone can come. It's drop in, drop out. We always teach the basics every week. So even though we might get experts come in, people that are really, really good, they always go over those key fundamentals, and to allow anyone that's starting today to be able to feel part of it. And it's always good just to always go over all the basics all the time, because it's kind of like wax on, wax off. It just keeps you super, super, super tight. And it's a place to come to learn to beatbox, do musicality, but also to make friends and just cuss each other out, and meet girls, meet boys, eat some lunch together. And if some people want to do it and become artists, beatboxers, rappers, that's cool. But hopefully, some people will come on and just learn how to collaborate and meet people and take that into their lives as nurses and doctors and teachers, and that's really, really cool as well. It's not just about we want to create artists. It's like we want to create better people through music and drama, really.
Yeah, that it's inspirational. It's about using an art form to help inspire and help young people with life, basically. It's incredible. I think my first experience of beatboxing was probably, I think he's called Michael Winslow in Police Academy.
Legend.
I think that was my first experience of it, and I remember watching it like, what is this? It's insane. So before I let you go, can you just give us a burst of some of your favorite stuff?
Okay. Cheers.
I love it. Thank you so much. That's incredible. Oh, it's just, I love it. I cannot wait for this show. Like I say, so thank you. And what I love as well is that it's revolutionary. Like you say, there was no reference point. It's revolutionary, and it's giving this style of music a platform that it doesn't necessarily have in comparison to other more commercially, out there things. So I think it is amazing that you're doing this, and thank you so much. Is there anything left that you want to say before I let you get on with your busy week?
No, just everyone come down. It's a great show. Some of these guys, it's even their first big show or the biggest show they've ever done. So you're going to see really, really kind of hungry, amazing artists, plus some older tenured artists, like you said, killing it, new stuff. Come and have fun at the Lowry, and hopefully I'll see you there.
Definitely. And you've heard it for yourself. That all of that noise, all of that brilliant instrumental with the vocals, that's exactly why you need to come along. And I feel so much cooler just for chatting with you today. So thank you so much.
Cool.
It's at the Lowry Unexpected Twist from the 2nd to the 7th of May. Thank you so much, Conrad. We cannot wait. Thank you.
Cheers, thanks.